Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're really glad you could join us today. We're diving into, well, a really fascinating ancient text, Psalm 10. It's surprising how much it speaks to things we still grapple with today. So our mission here, as always, is to take the source material. We've got a detailed study on this psalm and kind of pull out the key insights for you. Think of it as a shortcut to getting your head around this specific bit of the Bible and what it means. And the study frames it around this really challenging theme, the face of evil. And specifically that tough question, why does God allow evil people to keep preying on the weak? That's a big one.
It really is. And it's not just some old historical question, is it? It's something people ask, all the time. When we face hard times or see injustice, that question about God maybe seeming distant or inactive, it just comes up naturally. It's definitely complex. But this study, it offers some really profound ways to think about it, ways that challenge how we might normally see things. It helps you dig a bit deeper.
Okay, so let's unpack this then, right from the start. Psalm 10, verse 1. David, the writer, he doesn't hold back. He just asks straight out, why Adonai, is a powerful Hebrew name for God, right?
Right.
Why do you stand at a distance? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? I mean, that's just raw emotion. So relatable.
Absolutely. And the source material jumps right into that vulnerability. It gives an initial thought, which is pretty deep. God sometimes allows these troubles, these trials, even the evil, to grow us in our faith in him. It really leans into this idea that God is in control and he knows all. Even if we can't possibly understand his reasons right now, there's a purpose, even if it's hidden from us. It's asking us to trust the bigger picture, not just what we see or feel in the moment.
Yeah, and I think almost everyone listening has probably felt that exact feeling, when things are tough, when it feels like the bad guys are winning, asking, where are you, God? It really connects this ancient song to right now. So after that initial cry, where does David in our study point next?
Well, after that really heartfelt question, David's focus shifts pretty dramatically. He starts painting this, quite stark picture of the wicked. The study highlights this move from the internal struggle to looking outward at how evil actually operates. And the very first description, in verse 2, it's vivid. The wicked hunt down the poor who get caught in the schemes they think up.
That hunting imagery. Schemes. It sounds so deliberate, so predatory. What more does the source say about that prey on the weak idea?
It's quite specific. The source compares them to predators, like wild animals targeting the ones who are maybe most vulnerable. It points out they often go after those newer in their faith. People who might not have the experience, maybe aren't as grounded yet, so they're easier targets for deception. It's like how predators in nature might look for the weakest in the herd. But there's also this sense of potential growth in the study. It suggests that over time, believers learn to spot and avoid more and more of the devil's schemes by listening to God.
Okay, that makes sense. And then verse 3, wow, it gets even more blatant. It says, the wicked boast about their evil desires, they bless greed, and they despise God openly. It's not hidden sin. It's flaunted. What's the take on that?
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. And what's really disturbing, something the source connects to today, is that this kind of open boasting about sin is happening more and more these days and will continue to get worse. So it sees this ancient description playing out right now, this sort of erosion of values where defiance is almost celebrated. It's presented as a serious warning.
And it seems to build up to verse 4, where their arrogance peaks. They basically say there is no God, so it won't be held against me. Total self-sufficiency, no accountability. Does the source explain where that comes from?
It does, and it's a really key point in the study. The root cause, it argues, is pride. Simple as that. And it makes this powerful connection saying this pride is the same thing that brought on the fall of Satan. This pride means they're just completely wrapped up in worldly things, chasing after the things of the flesh, as the source puts it. Their own desires, ambitions, getting stuff. They're so busy with all that, there's just no room left to even think about God. They genuinely believe they're in charge of their own destiny, which leaves no space for humility or depending on anyone else, let alone God.
Okay, so moving into verses 5 through 7, this picture of the wicked that just keeps getting darker. They think his ways prosper at all times. They're untouchable. God's judgments are way up there, irrelevant, just total dismissal.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is just how deep that arrogance and self-delusion runs. They actually believe, I will never be shaken, I won't meet trouble, not now or ever. It's not just ignoring God, it's this core belief in their own invincibility.
Right.
And their words match their attitude. The psalm says, his mouth is full of curses, deceit, oppression, under his tongue, mischief and injustice. They use words like weapons, false promises, threats hidden in smooth talk, anything to get what they want.
And then the imagery shifts again, doesn't it? Verses 8 to 10. It gets even more predatory, comparing them to lions hunting for food, ambushing the innocent in secret. That's chilling.
It is chilling, that comparison to lions. Lurking unseen, pouncing on the poor, just like a predator hiding, waiting for the right moment. Our study explains this often means they will work on the weaker members of a group in hopes of bringing down all of them.
Ah, so it's strategic.
Exactly. It's not just random cruelty. It's a calculated way to weaken a whole community or group by going after the most vulnerable first. Their sneakiness makes them really dangerous.
In this whole section describing the wicked, it ends with verse 11, their deep down belief. God forgets, he hides his face, he will never see. They think they're getting away with it all.
Yeah, it's a profoundly mistaken belief, isn't it? Thinking God is either absent or just doesn't care. That fuels their actions, but it's that very self-deception that leads right into David's next really powerful shift.
Right, because the tone changes completely. David comes back strong in verses 12 through 14. He cries out, "Arise, Adonai! God, raise your hand. Don't forget the humble." After describing all that darkness, it's this desperate plea for action.
Exactly. And this is where the source material offers some real comfort and perspective. It strongly emphasizes that God is our only source of strength, especially when facing that kind of evil. And it makes this crucial point. God hasn't forgotten us. Evil is only allowed for a certain amount of time.
Okay, that's important. It's not forever.
No, it's temporary. And David remembers this vital truth. God has a special place in his heart for the weak and the fatherless. He sees, he cares. Even if his timing isn't what we'd choose, that temporary nature of evil, that's a real anchor of hope.
David's plea then really intensifies in verses 15 and 16. He asks God directly, break the arm of the wicked. And our source connects this to a bigger prophetic picture about the end of evil, right?
Yes, it does. The source talks about this future point when this kind of wickedness will finally end. It mentions how evil will be after the millennial reign, which is often understood as a 1,000-year period of God's kingdom on earth, described in prophecy. After that time, the study notes, those who do not accept the Lord will be removed from Jerusalem and all of Israel. So it's pointing towards this ultimate final judgment where all evil is dealt with, justice is served.
And then the psalm wraps up. Verses 17 and 18, David comes back to this core belief. God is in control and the reign of evil men will end. It kind of brings everything full circle from despair back to trust.
Absolutely. And connecting this to the really big picture, our source explains that this ultimate end of evil will usher in the eternal reign of Jesus Christ. That's the final promise, real justice for everyone who's been oppressed, for the fatherless, for anyone who's suffered because of wickedness. It means a complete end to terror and injustice, replaced by lasting peace and righteousness. It's a deeply hopeful outlook, especially when things look bleak now.
So, bringing it all together, what's the main takeaway for us? This deep dive into Psalm 10, it gives us a pretty stark look at evil, what it looks like, how it thinks, how arrogant it is. But maybe even more than that, it offers comfort. It helps us see suffering from God's perspective, maybe understand a little differently, and it points firmly towards God's ultimate justice. And that's what we try to do here on the Deep Dive, help you get clear understanding from sometimes complex sources, cut through the noise, and really get to the heart of what matters.
Yeah. And maybe as you think about all this, consider this. How can understanding these characteristics of evil, the ones David describes so vividly in Psalm 10, help you not just to maybe recognize evil more clearly out there in the world, but also maybe to strengthen your own faith, your own resolve when you face tough times? How might this ancient perspective shape how you view the struggles around you today and maybe reinforce that hope for a future where justice wins out? Something to ponder.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Deep Dive. Until next time, keep digging deeper.